before we get into the rest of the video, make sure you subscribe to Wrestling Hub and turn on all notifications to stay up to date with everything in the world of pro wrestling. Also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Wrestling Hub Official and follow us on Twitter at Wrestling_Hub. Speaking during returning the Paige show at StarCast, Paige, following her exit from WWE, spoke about a potential move to AEW. I'm in the middle of writing a book right now, which I'm really excited about. We get a book, it's going to be another year before it officially comes out. We're in the middle of writing that. We're doing other things, but I'm not allowed to say anything right now. It's non-wrestling related. Sorry guys, I'm not going to be going to AEW anytime soon. AEW seems great. I love AEW. I'd love to face Britt Baker one day if the time is right. That would be awesome. All my friends are there now. Paige also recalled her conversation with Sasha Banks following her career-ending neck injury. So the referee threw up the X, and I look at poor Sasha in the corner, and she's like, "I'm so sorry." And I'm like, if it wasn't you, it was going to be somebody else. I thought I could come back and do exactly the same things that I could do prior to my first neck injury, and so that's on me. That's my fault. I did literally the same move with Bayley the day before, and unfortunately timing was just a little bit off, and it happens. It is what it is. The wife of the late Ultimate Warrior, Dana, has been working for WWE since 2014 and on the creative team since 2019, but it was recently revealed by PW Insider Warrior is no longer part of the WWE creative team, having departed that position several months back. Warrior had been working remotely from home prior to her departure and was not on the road for the company. However, Warrior remains with the company and is now working full-time in the area of community relations, so she will still be around working in community outreach and other related areas of WWE. Talking to Ryan, Satin on Out of Character, Eric Bischoff had this to say about AEW when comparing it to WWE. The product is boring. It's just nothing new has happened. Nothing has changed. Nothing has emerged. Nothing has evolved. It's the same formula. Up until recently, the same process. We're talking about WWE, which is by far the dominant company. There is no competition. AEW is not competition. No matter how much Tony Khan wants to believe it is, it's not. We're in the same business, Tony. That's not the same thing as being in competition. You're not taking market share, Tony. You're just in the same business. It's kind of like having a mom and pop hamburger stand on the corner and saying that you're in competition with Arby's. You're not. On Busted Open Radio, WWE Hall of Famer Road Dogg spoke about the previous Wednesday night ratings war, saying no one in NXT thought they were competing with AEW. This is how I look at that. I'm trying to calm down a little bit before I react or respond. I don't think NXT lost the head-to-head battle. I don't think it was ever meant to. I think things got out of hand a little bit and USA agreed to a deal for NXT and Vince McMahon wanted that to be what it is now. He wanted it to be a total tryout thing. Put these people on TV, we'll see if they stick, and we'll get them up here. Hunter has a different philosophy. Train them, make sure they're good to go before you put them on TV. It's two totally different philosophies. Speaking from NXT, and I say this from sitting in every meeting when it was black and gold and writing, producing, and directing, we never once thought we were competing with those guys. We looked at ourselves as a developmental program. I hope for AEW they weren't thinking that beating a developmental program was a notch in their belt, because it was people nobody had ever heard of on a Tuesday night against Chris Jericho and Jon Moxley. I always thought that was apples and oranges, and you can tell I take it personally because I worked there. Of course we wanted to beat them, but we never thought we were in competition or had to write for competition. We just wrote the best show we could. Given the leadership changes in WWE, The Observer pointed out how WWE stars could be feeling nervous over losing their spots on the main roster. I thought Raw was definitely better, but again, the original stuff is going to be better and we'll wait and see. It's going to be several weeks before everything's positioned. There's going to be some people who, I've heard from some talent, and generally they are positive, but there are definitely people who are worried that they're going to lose their spots, and there will be some people who will, because you're going to have different visions of who the top people are, and not everyone can be a top person. With Becky Lynch appearing to be injured following her match at SummerSlam, it seems that she will be a babyface going forward as Meltzer discussed this situation. I saw a photo and it looked really bad, and when I saw the photo, it's almost like, man, you know, it's like this would be something that you would, if it was a fight, they would have stopped it immediately if the referee was close enough to see that, but in wrestling they don't. They rarely stop it, and she gutted her way through, and even in her interview, she said it was incredibly painful to do the match, and it looked it. You know, when you're talking about like severity of the separation and everything, the photo that I saw, it looked pretty bad and out months. Timing is what it is. They immediately transferred the heat instead of the idea that she got it in the match. It was from that glam slam being thrown on her shoulder, right? Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, and there's no point in putting the heat on Bianca Belair, so they created that thing to put the heat on Bayley and Dakota and Io. Talking about Raw on his podcast, former WWE writer Vince Russo criticized Triple H for booking Seth Rollins to face Montez Ford. If that is the reason, and you know, we see the two new girls coming out with Bayley, bro, they're booking for the fans they already have. The hardcores and the marks are gonna go nuts. Bro, as soon as I saw Rollins and Montez Ford, I'm like, okay, bro, this is 15 minutes and the marks going to go crazy over this. And the casual fans are not going to give a crap. So yeah, I agree with you, Chris, but again, when you're going after that mass audience, that's for all the wrong reasons, bro. Talking about the interim AEW champions bout against Rush from Dynamite, Jim Cornette had this to say about Jon Moxley. So they can make even a finish to the world title match like that as flat as possible. Either win with your finish or don't hit it and let the guy kick out of it and then just grab something else and win with that. Jesus, he's rotten. Plumber Moxley. I trended for saying this and a lot of people happen to agree with it, come to find out. He's the worst pushed wrestler in the world, and it's all the same. Speaking of Triple H now being in charge of WWE Creative, AEW President Tony Khan admitted to Sports Grid that he is worried now more than ever over AEW stars signing with WWE. I think that's always been a concern, but now probably more so than ever. I imagine great wrestlers are going to be in demand, and again, I think this is probably going to be good for the wrestling fans because that's one of the most exciting things about pro wrestling, free agency. It's one of those things that was really missing from the sport for almost 2 decades before AEW came in, because there was not a legitimate competitor in the free agent market, and now there is. I think it's going to be some exciting times ahead, hopefully for many years to come. One of the worst things that happened, I think, in American sports in my lifetime was when WCW closed down, and there should always be another national wrestling company. Khan would add, it's going to change the competition, but I think that's a good thing. AEW's got a big fan base. We're on in 130 countries now around the world, and here in the US, we've built a great fan base, and the competition is going to change. It's a different person in the chair opposite me, but I don't think that's going to be a bad thing for the wrestling fan necessarily. With fans wondering what is next for MJF as he has not been seen since his pipe bomb promo from months ago, Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful reported that we have followed up numerous times about where MJF has been since his post Double or Nothing promo on AEW Dynamite. We've not heard from a single AEW talent or staffer that has admitted to hearing from him since then, and even plenty of people who have worked with him or are close to him have said that he's not communicated with them whatsoever. We did confirm that after the promo on June 1st, he remained in Los Angeles for several days conducting on-screen non-wrestling related meetings. There was word last week that he was in New Jersey filming with cast members of Impractical Jokers, which is on True TV, a Warner Brothers Discovery station. We've not confirmed if it's for that show or just with cast members. Everyone that we've spoken to says they've not overheard Tony Khan speak about MJF whatsoever since the June 1st promo. So far, we haven't heard of anyone in wrestling that has said that they've even spoken to MJF since he left either. There are still some within the company that are of the belief that MJF is on his way out of the company and wants to go to WWE. However, that isn't based on any information gained since the actual promo. Speaking to WrestleNomics analyst Brandon Ross of Lightshed Media said he believes that WWE investors are very interested in a sale. That potential sale has been the #1 focus of investors, really since the allegations against Vince came out at the very beginning. There's always been this idea that, look, WWE is a pretty small company. There are a ton of larger entities that are looking for content, especially live content, and they'd be a natural acquisition target for a number of companies. The big question on everyone's mind is, does WWE want to sell or not? And if you dial back or peel back that question, does the McMahon family want to sell or not? With Warner Media recently canceling the Batgirl movie despite a budget of over $100 million, the Wrestling Observer pointed out how this could be bad news for AEW. Your parent company is slicing budgets everywhere. They are stopping movies and TV shows in production. It's been a bloodletting there, and there's probably more to come. The timing for AEW, with their deal coming up at the end of next year, last few days haven't been looking good. AJ Ferrari was seen as a top prospect of WWE's Next in Line program, but he was recently accused of sexual assault by police in Stillwater, Oklahoma. After an incident on July 2nd, an investigation took place which led to an arrest warrant issued in his name. AJ has been kicked off the Oklahoma State wrestling team. His bond is set at $25,000 in Payne County, as his attorney released the statement. It is unfortunate that a student athlete can become a target, primarily because of their status as an elite athlete. AJ is cooperating with law enforcement and is confident the truth will come out. He appreciated his time at Oklahoma State, but he and the university mutually agreed a change was appropriate. On Instagram, WWE Hall of Famer HACKSAW Jim Duggan can be seen finishing his radiation treatment as he is now cancer-free.
I tell you folks, for 8 weeks I've been coming by looking at this bell, listening to the other folks come by and ringing the bell and looking forward to it. It's been a long, late weeks, but before I ring the bell, I just want to say thank you to the doctors, the nurses, and the technicians that actually saved my life. I want to thank my wife and my daughters who stuck with me through all this. But most of all, I want to thank you folks out there that I've been able to share this with, and you guys shared your stuff with me. So out of respect, I'm not going to do no big hole in here. But when we get outside, you better believe there's some holes. But right now, after 8 weeks, here we go, tough guy.
Yeah!
Oh.
All right.
Thank you.
Despite a return being rumored for Banks and Naomi ever since the retirement of Vince McMahon, it seems Naomi's WWE contract may have already run out, with the Observer reporting that while they may not have agreed to new deals, and in the case of Naomi, her contract in theory expired, they could have frozen her so she couldn't go anywhere else. The belief is that Naomi and Banks are returning. Speaking to the hashtag show about the walkout of Sasha Banks and Naomi from WWE, AEW champion CM Punk showed support for the pair, saying, "My thing is, I can't listen to people criticize me if I wouldn't ask advice from them. You can't lead people somewhere you've never gone. I try to be as humble as I can be, and I don't like talking about myself, but I was the first guy through the wall. I got bloodied for it. To watch somebody else stand up and walk out, I'm always going to support that 100%. I've never met Mercedes, I don't know her, but I definitely feel solidarity with her. I know how that place is. I know how women are treated there. I'm not a woman myself, so I can't put myself in those shoes, but there are probably a lot of reasons why she peaced out." According to the Wrestling Observer, female stars in WWE are under the impression that they will be getting more of a spotlight with Triple H's head of creative. Regarding the new regime, we're told that it's a positive and fresh vibe, but some talent are nervous whether they will keep or lose their position. But overall, the feeling is more excitement and more positive about the future. Paul Levesque was described as coming across caring about talent. Others noted a wait-and-see attitude, and there is also some paranoia among some described duelists from those who are not sure if their spots will be as good under the new regime. But it is mostly positive. It was noted it was more relaxed and calmer, that the women felt there was going to be more focus on them, and that the words wrestler and wrestling were no longer dirty words talent were instructed to never use without authorization, and almost everyone considers that a good thing. Following his retirement from WWE in the midst of an investigation into allegations of sexual misconduct, PW Insider is reporting that former WWE Chairman Vince McMahon has been removed from the internal talent roster. Rey Mysterio revealed while speaking at the 2022 Leagues Cup Showcase that many behind the scenes still can't believe Vince McMahon has retired. None of us expected it. We still are in denial that he's no longer there, but it is reality and we have to accept it. So we move on. We keep the show up and running. When asked about what needs to be done to address the corporate culture, Rey said, "To be honest with you, I'm more worried about what's happening with the Mysterios and storylines, and how do we make this product even better, you know? Everybody has their input. Everybody has a little bit to give. Come out on top, and at the end of the day, entertain our fans." After taking part in his final match at StarCast, Ric Flair has taken to Twitter to announce that he will be returning to the ring with Andrade this weekend in Puerto Rico. Whether he will actually wrestle or will just be serving as a manager remains to be seen. Despite being signed to WWE, Logan Paul is not like most superstars that work for the company. Given his stature as an internet celebrity, Paul has more freedom than others, as he's set to take a break from WWE to venture back into the boxing ring, saying on the Pat McAfee show, "I'm a boxer again. We're getting back in the ring. We're going to go from professional sport to professional sport. I want to get a fight in December. I have some people in mind, but I can't say. You know, you only get one first impression. That's part of my ability to make moments. I like making first impressions big. So I want to wait until we're ready." During SmackDown, former NXT champion Karrion Kross made his return to WWE, taking out Drew McIntyre, as his wife Scarlett placed an hourglass in front of Roman Reigns, hinting at a match between the two down the line. And this was your pro wrestling news update. I hope you're all having a great day. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you later.